Greetings, this is Joanna from Heavenly Radiance, and we're going to do a few shamanic story tarot readings for the universal energies within and without to assist us in healing, in co-creating, expressing, exploring, and experiencing all that we are as divine sacred beings of holy light. And we have brought forward a beautiful few decks, and we're going to create a few videos from these. So I've already shuffled, but I will shuffle some more. And we're going to connect with the Gaia energy, the Gaia consciousness, the Elohim, the creator gods, divine fairies and pixies, the Christ consciousness, the councils of light, the divine and holy Mother Father within us all, Spirit, Mother Father God, the source creators. And the message and the blessing that came through was, blessed be the playful child. And so how can we come forward and play with this beautiful sacred circle that we're gathering around as we anchor our hearts and our souls into this sacred space, and we co-create beautiful stories of our ascending humanity, of our ascending planet, of our ascending vibrational experiences as we explore all that we are as multidimensional beings. We reach farther, wider, and into more rich energies of our sacredness so that we experience our fullness as who we are as divine sacred beings. And this reading we're going to dedicate to Gaia. And this is the tree oracle, the wisdom of the trees oracle that I love pulling these. I pull these daily. And this one specific reading right now will be Gaia energy, and I'm tapping into the energies of Gaia, the Elohim, and the creator gods, as well as, that was probably a bit loud, as well as our ancestors, and the lineage from our ancestors that is going to come through in this reading. And this will be specific to our connection, our entanglement. If you'd like to open your divine sacred hearts and offer in a blessing, offer in an activation, offer in a healing for who you are within the embodiment of Gaia, any beautiful blessings and lessons and activations that you'd like to co-create with her. And these will be the specific energies that we will draw upon in this one reading. So let's pull a few tree cards. Wow, I think we've had that one before. Beautiful one. Oh, wow, got that one yesterday. It's for our collective. And so thank you, Oracle of the Trees. I'll put that back here because we're going to do another video. We're going to pull an animal spirit, and this is Spirit of the Animal Oracles. A beautiful deck with beautiful imagery, and understanding that we are connected and entangled in every moment with every aspect of creation, all matter within our bodies, that we are put together vibrationally within our DNA, everything that we are entangled within and without with Gaia. Her consciousness, the crystalline grids, our blueprint is connected with her blueprint, her ascension blueprint, our ascension blueprint, as individuals and as a collective. So it's important that we come forward and we appreciate and we honor and we co-create stories with her each day, taking greater time to honor what she offers as source creator, because source creator is the reflection of all that is life. And it's our entanglement with source in a loving and beautiful and dynamic way that allows us to tap into and awaken the source within us ever deeper, ever wider, ever richer. And it's a holographic experience of love. It's an ever winding story of love. So the animals that would like to come and play with us today. Oh, wonderful. The grizzly bear, great power. That's what I feel today. It's great power coming forward. Oh, that's so wonderful. Authentic. And we just offered a video about authentic power. That's wonderful. And on the bottom we have the goose, which is the inner knowing. So they're all kind of working together, aren't they? And then I think we're going to create, oh, let's do this one as this Gaia deck. We'll leave the other ones for our next reading. So please stay tuned and join us for our next reading. And this is a beautiful oracle deck, the Earth Warriors Oracle by Alana Fairchild. I love her decks. I always find her decks enriched and steeped with not only divine goddess wisdom, but shamanic wisdom. As well, and so really connect with her. She's got a ton of great decks. If you're looking to buy a really great oracle deck or tarot oracle offerings, she's a great energy to learn from as a beautiful goddess that she is. Offers many books. Thank you, Alana. Okay, let's pull 2 from this deck. I love this deck. I use this often. I've taken this deck on many of my journeys. Land traveling. Usually when I go on land travels, I usually take this deck when I'm connecting with the land. Vibrationally, and with the many tribes that are dedicated in this deck. And I also have many paintings of the artist from this deck, Mariposa. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards, Quien-te. And I'm going to use my stromatolite crystals. It's actually not a crystal, it's a fossil. Oh, I love this one, Medicine Horse. Thank you. So beautiful, beautiful Gaia wisdom. So thank you for the energies of Gaia, our beautiful energies. And you can see the stories playing out right here. We're going to go to the first tree that we have. The first tree that we have. Let's see if I can get my little Mexico obsidian. That's the acai tree, acacia. The acacia tree. The acacia tree symbolizes protection. Humans have been honored for many centuries because they know that I offer them protection even in the harshest conditions. I am a symbol for the continuity of life, for the continuity of life. Trust that you are being given the support and the protection that you crave, even if you are not aware of it. Your sanctuary is heightened. Your sensitivity is even heightened. So honor this. Give deep insights to your inner world and the world around you. So again, tapping into the energies that are playing out right now, allowing us to understand that we are being offered in every moment brand new portals of heightening for who we are within all that's being offered. We're being offered greater awareness in who we are with the land, with the energies of the land, with our energies of all that is Gaia, allowing us various aspects of what we know to be protection, because protection can mean different things. How we allow ourselves to move through life in the knowing that we are one with Source, to be that open portal of movement through life. And so the first thing that's coming to my attention right now is this open circle at the very top here. And the parrot, the beautiful, colorful parrots that are in the trees. But the picture that was shown to me is our honor and our understanding that we are the ever movement of Source, which is the circle. The circle for me always resembles and means Source, the circle, one. In this ever enclosed idea of our movement, that we're ever moving in and out of life at varying levels, always changing our colors, always shifting from perspectives on various frequencies of where we choose to experience life. And within this, there's always that innate knowing, the innate knowing of who we are. This for me, and why it's closed, why it's open at the back, is the funnel, which means that there's movement going up and down always and around. This is the ever moving spiral of you as Source, and it's always information coming down, wisdom coming down, so that you move about in your ever traversing path to expand out, to expand up. And that in this is what encompassed at your divine sacred heart, the center of who you are. This center state of being in an open, present state in moment for moment life allows you to navigate in and out of every branch and every leaf, every obstacle, and reach those heights through which you're ready and able to now spread your wings fully and soar to new heights. And it's not something that we get from putting up barriers and walls around us. It comes from this inner state of knowing that it's an infinite spiral of who we are as the landscape of all that is Gaia, the anchoring of who we are as pillars of light, so that we are rooted with Gaia. We are ever present and protected with her and by her, because she nourishes us, so that we are grounded, so that we are maintaining our center point, so that we do have the ability to stretch our wings and allow life to live through us seamlessly and carefree. And we can have the flowers of the years and the seasons grow with us, not saying that that's not safe for me to go there, because it might change who I am, it might change my texture, and that's the de-evolved state and stagnancy that's oftentimes we experience. But to say, you know what, I'm going to drop these borders and boundaries, and I'm just going to open myself freely, because I know I'm forever held with source. As long as I'm aligning within who I am, I will always find that path to traverse, and it will always create greater colors and greater fluency, so that I can soar higher and richer and wider. And this is just the ever knowing that you are within that funnel of source, always, never without a moment. And so that's what's presenting itself to me. And there, as you can see, there's 3 parrots there, which is, for me, 3 is the symbolic number for the divine spirit of the divine mind, the divine body, and divine spirit, all harmonizing and working as one, or the father, the mother, and the child, working together as one, the sacred unity, the sacred triad, the higher self, the soul, and the personality self. So the sacred triad has many, many meanings, and there in and of itself is the protection, because you're never ever working just by yourself. You're working as a complete soul entity. You're always harmonized in the center of who you are, offering yourself authentically, offering yourself with intimacy, offering yourself with higher knowing, that you're always in alignment as you're offering from this heart space, and there's nothing to fear. You're always with source. And this is called the bristlecone pine. And I see something coming to life for me right now. Move it up a little bit closer. Bristlecone pine. I always like to read what it says in the books, and then 34. And then I'll get my own story. So life does not always run smoothly, and you are currently facing difficulties. Do your best to remain strong and steadfast during troubling times. Persist with your goals and the higher learning, that setbacks may always be available to grow into new richness. And so I added a bit of my own stuff there. My needles can stay green for over 40 years before dying, so I can help you learn about the art of persistency. My ability to survive thousands of years means that I have witnessed many turbulent times, but I continue to grow despite all challenges. And so the ideas that's coming forward in these energies right now is the energies that we're tapping into with Gaia, and how this is what's coming forward right now, is the energies of how turbulent we have been in our connection with Gaia, in our misunderstanding of her permission and her allowance and her grace to heal us in times of need of protection, whether it be a physical injury or an illness, or moving about the land in exploratory ways, or to create a home. Any of those aspects that can mean protection at any one given time in different varying levels of energy. And to also allow us to know that regardless of what occurs in the unfolding of humanity between us and Gaia, that is a co-creation in our understanding and honoring of one another. And that oftentimes we go through those challenges to show us how steadfast and strong we are to rise to new heights of inner knowing and inner reserve and resolve, to say that I can do this, I will get through this, and this will be okay. It's teaching me so that I can come forward and be the steadfast teacher and leader and healer and provider and environmental ambassador that I need to be, so that I understand the full capacity of life as it twists and turns. Most often, those that are the greatest of teachers and co-creators of the human experience are those that have gone through the trials and the tribulations, like Nelson Mandela. I mean, great people that have experienced the trials and tribulations through honoring their unique voice, their authentic voice, in being with the people at the ground level, being with the people in times of struggle and everyday human challenge, to see through it with that human spirit and oneness that is always offered, always offered. And if we're aligned within our heart and our soul, then we will always come forward in the greater good of all, not in the ego, maintaining its ideal of its honoring or overtaking of the land, controlling the land, manipulating the land, depleting the land, degrading the land. Those are energies that we're all healing. And this is what these energies mean for me today. So the Gaia is coming forward with these energies, and for the shamans to show us how do we understand our ideas and our perspectives of protection. And is protection, is protection, and can protection, this is what's coming to me now, is can protection be perceived in a new way that's heightened and expansive and actually serves your now expanded perspective of self? And the bristle cone is about persistency. To be persistent about what you and who you know yourself to be is a path that's ever winding, in which, you know, you can see the roots as they're winding up the, you know, some of these roots are they're unearthed. You know, they're being brought up, you know, whether it's because of the winds and the challenges of the plates beneath the ground. This tree has been uprooted in some parts, and it's not fully anchored at times. And we all feel this. If we're not anchored and we're not fully grounded, parts of us really want to explore and are rich, and other parts of us are holding us back. Could be the fears and the limited perspectives that we hold of ourselves, and can allow us to feel torn sometimes, which is what this experience feels for me right here, is that torn perspective of how can I persist and allow myself to know that I can always harmonize myself and bring myself back to oneness, bring myself back to unity. And what's showing here is there's a little being and an energy here, to me, that looks like it's coming down from the heavens and coming down into the earth, which for me is the concept and idea of heavens offering whatever is needed to this being in this moment, so that it becomes rerooted again and grounded again and nourished again in the way that it needs to. So this heavenly offering has been coming down through the very center of it. What is lush and rich and what is needing sustenance and persistence to come together as one will always be offered the gifts that can bring unity back to these two parts that have been pulled. These two parts that have been pulled can be seen as the polarity of separation, can be seen as the duality of our experience. Those that have and those that have not, the male and the female, all of these aspects that we're now healing and harmonizing, however we want to perceive it and name it and define it, it doesn't matter. But at any one moment, we're always feeling that push and that pull, which is what I've been feeling like for the last 6 months, not in this world, not in that last world, but kind of in between, not really in any world. Having to harmonize all that we are to allow for that perfect moment that the heavens opens up and says, here you go. This is this offering that will allow you to feel your wholeness again. You've had to feel this in-between state because it allows you learning and vastness too. It allows you to fully appreciate the shaking beneath your feet because that wasn't sturdy to begin with. And how can you rewrite it? How can you allow yourself to create a brand new foundation that is fully built in love and oneness with Source Creator, and knowing that you're always protected? There is no need to go outside of you for greater, more profound protection because it's always within you. You walk through fire and through mountains, and you have that ability. So it's the knowingness of how can we perceive ourselves in new ways and persist within that open, loving experience that oftentimes in an old world reality perspective of persistence was that no matter what, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And oftentimes it's that attitude that allows the ego to trip up and get follied in those types of energies, because that's the ego working, not the persistence of the soul, which is open and allowing. To know that it's okay to be unearthed at times, so that you can see both perspectives, so that you can allow yourself that mastery and that higher self perspective of what's truly going on and what you've truly learned, so that the next time that you ground and root, it will be purposeful, it will be masterful, it will be of great richness and great depth of who you are as a soul with Source. So that's profound. So thank you, Gaia, for bringing me those experiences and how we can relate those to what we're co-creating with Gaia. How can we perceive our persistence with her in a brand new, enriched, and enlightened way? And the grizzly bear is great power. It allows us great power to know that we are in oneness with Gaia. All that she offers is for us to not only be sustained, but to be healed and to be honored. It's an honoring relationship, not to take more than we need, not to degrade more than we need to. How are we able to find greater ways to be sustained? How can we find greater systems that serve the entire all systems, all life? And that takes great power. It takes great courage to persist against old world ideals and to bring creative divine openings so that we do come forward with higher intelligence. And I say higher intelligence with the vibration of service, with a vibration of the all. That is required. It truly is required. Not so that one minority group or one minority category gets served over another. None at all equal. That takes power. Power is to use the inner wisdom and the intelligence and the higher wisdoms and the higher knowing so that the all are served equally, of great honor and of great benefit in what our ancestors have taught us. That's what the grizzly bear represents. Never taking, thrashing, or destroying anything that it doesn't need to. Why would it? And there's an elegance to the grizzly bear. Great elegance. Big as those creatures are, we have them on the property, bears. And they're great, elegant beings. There's a bear that slipped in between the fence, and it just, as big as it was, it just went in between those fences and barely touched a brush. You know, they're elegant beings of profundity. How can we learn from that which is around us and within us so that we understand the protection we've always had? And how can we perceive from a higher perspective to be in oneness with all that is being offered in all moments that is source? And so the grizzly bear is, I'm indestructible. I honor my intuition and I go where it leads me. Love and gentleness are my real strength. I never give up. I will succeed. So even, again, it has persistence here. So there's many trials and tribulations that everybody upon earth are moving through right now. And we're oftentimes rehashing old wounds. We're oftentimes rehashing relationships that have challenged us in the past to bring us to a higher level and vibration of peace and unity and oneness, and our resolve to see one another in oneness, regardless of how different our opinions are or behaviors are or practices are, but to see each as the gentle beings that we are. And that is great power. The higher and the more gentle you are carries great power. It really truly does, because that shows that you have the wisdom and the intelligence all harmonized as one. That is the divine male and female. So thank you, Gaia. Wow, profound messages today. Thank you. And this is the penguin, authentic. And so authenticity for me is a vibration of unity and oneness with your soul self and your source and your higher self and spirit within. That's authentic. When there's no need to hide your intimacy with who you are, your vulnerability with who you are, with source, with creator, with spirit, and with nature. To know that being soft and gentle is a great attribute that's highly needed on our planet for healing and compassion and togetherness and caring and sharing. And how all of these are unified in there. You can see the pillar of legacy of light that they hold, and they're showing us. They're within their pillars of unity, and this is what Source Creator offers. That the Divine Father, the Divine Mother, and the Sacred Child hold the authentic foundation of our future fifth dimensional Earth. That is what authenticity means, is that you're understanding your wholeness, you're understanding the persistence of who you are as spirit with human experiences, to come forward and truly create with great gentleness, to truly create with great care and honor of all that is life. And authentic, to reach out to your tribe in times of need. Family gives you strength when you face the storm. Love your uniqueness. You are full of surprises. Break free from others' expectations and just be yourself. And there's many that are facing experiences in their path of awakening through which they're awakening to what no longer serves, and they're awakening to where they want to explore. And sometimes this can cause great challenge when they're breaking free from what they thought was always going to be their path of wholeness. And oftentimes, as we saw in the tree here, as you can tell the energies of this reading already, is that there's great authentic truth to the breaking away. And it takes great courage. It takes great resolve. It takes great persistence. And sometimes that's what's required on the path, is to break away and to begin anew, because that's where we never really truly know how and what we can accomplish and what we can stretch out and reach to, unless we actually take that journey and reach beyond what was. And to know that we can always call on our family and our soul tribe to bring us that greater unity, the Holy Mother, Father, the Creator, Spirit, Source. We can always call on our family, and those that are true unconditional family and supporters will always encourage us, even in our breaking away, because they understand that it holds greater purpose at some point, at some level. And perhaps they might not get it now, but they will at some point, to know that that breaking away was required to build the strength of the greater whole. Because oftentimes for light workers, it will be a part of breaking away, whether it be through tradition, breaking away from a practice that no longer serves anymore, because perhaps you want to take something in a different direction, or a more unified direction, or perhaps something that means something to you at a physical, mental, emotional, or etheric level. So there's always going to be those breakings away, because it does require you, as we said before, to allow for that heightened perspective. If we never broke away, we would always be in this one state of being. And it's required that we do break. We need to break what was to rebuild and start anew, to reclaim who we are as a higher vibrational spirit. We can't claim ourselves as a higher vibrational spirit if we're not breaking what was and shedding the skin of what was. And this is what Gaia teaches us. This is what all nature teaches us, the cycles of life and the embodiment of love that is within all seed. That's so beautiful. Thank you. And the one that came next was Kiente, the sweet paradox of empowering grace. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful how these stories are just kind of weaving themselves. And we see how the trees are showing us these beautiful perspectives of how we perceive ourselves, because essentially, symbolically, we are each, don't even have that tree on. Let's see if I can get it on the screen here. Just perceive the tree. Perceive yourself as all aspects of the beautiful sacred geometry. I just love this artist. Her name is Mariposa, and she has an Etsy shop. I have some of her art. It's beautiful. Thank you. And so what is emulated in this is the power that the hummingbird has to fly to great heights with its tiny little essence of being, and how it moves and maneuvers in the highest heights of the mountains, and taps into the sweetest nectar that's offered there. But the hummingbird knows where to go and what to do. And regardless of how small and tiny it may appear, that it knows its journey, and it's profoundly powerful to do so. Even though it might come against the winds, the trade winds, even though it might come against the storms and have to sit out a rainstorm one day. But there is always that essence of understanding that it is within the seeds and the sacred geometry of all life, and it absolutely knows where to go and how to get there, regardless of its size, regardless of its its seemingly small paradoxical perspective in the greater good, and in the greater whole, if you will. And we might perceive it. The hummingbird obviously doesn't perceive it that way, but this is what's just so beautiful, as our stories can intertwine with the majesty of all nature and all that is Gaia and all that is Source Creator. And this is why we have the offerings from Source that we do in all life. The sacred geometry that's held in all things, the different traversing landscapes of Gaia. Every moment is an opportunity for us to truly take in the paradox and how sweet it can be. That regardless of the travels that you've gone through, and regardless of all the trials and the tribulations and the stories that you have woven throughout all timelines, that you have all that you have within you, that resolve of pure oneness, to know that you also can taste the nectar of the Most High. That it's only our our conceptions and our perceptions as to what we perceive as achievable. And even then, we don't necessarily, I don't know if, I suppose I have, but to move about the soulful journey, not as a journey to achieve something, but to explore and express who you are. For me, the hummingbird is always about expression. It's a beautiful expressive dance with creation. There's the hummingbird doesn't stop and think, can I do this? And it's not about achieving, it's about dancing. It's the expressive dance with nature, to tap into every dot and every particle that it might perceive that nectar within. And it's a beautiful sacred dance, and why she's in honor and in prayer and communion of it. And how it adds to the story of all that she is. And it's a paradox. It always will, because that is how we evolve. There is no dance for us to know our light unless we're healing our shadow, unless we're healing the inner child, unless we're healing the soul fragments that have been damaged and traumatized, and the roles that we've played on all ends of the spectrum. That's the paradox. And the final card that we have here, which is beautiful. I mean, they can't make this stuff up, really. The final card is the medicine horse. And the medicine horse, we all know the symbolisms of the horse in myriad plays. But the horse is coming through, the energies of the horse, and they're coming through with the message today that although we have our symbolisms and our understandings of what the horse means to us as a human collective, but in their perspective, they're offering that we've come through as a journeyer with you, that they are sacred partners on the journey. Not so much what they add to our journey. Yes and no. But we're saying that their honor is in the journey with us as co-creators, as partners, not necessarily as the carriers of their heavy bags. So again, it's about how may we perceive ourselves anew from a higher perspective, and to know that the honor is both reciprocal in the stories and the divine sacred puzzles that we're all weaving, and the textures that we weave, and how really rich and deep it is to know that when we connect with an animal, and we connect with Gaia, and we connect with the textures of the land, and the paradox of the land, and the paradox of the resolve that it requires to keep moving on, regardless of the challenges and the shaking of the ground, that we move on and we continue to live in knowing that there is progress that will be made in our allowing one another to be partners on the journey. And that's what the horse energy is coming forward to say, that it wasn't so much what we show you and how you can resolve through freedom and liberation, or the steadfast of the path, and to move with great grace and speed, and to carry great loads, which historically has been the story, yes, and also very valid. But their energy coming through today is the partner in the journey, which is beautiful in closing of this Gaia frequency reading, because that's the energy that Gaia offers in all of the communications and the sacred land travels that I've experienced, is that it's a co-creative partnership, and it's a journey together. We're journeyers on the path of evolution. We're journeyers on the path of remembrance of Source and our unity with Source, in our exploration and our co-creation with Source, in new lands and new vibrations and new co-creations. So how can we perceive ourselves with greater resolve, greater power? And that power comes from the gentleness and the understanding of knowing our oneness with all life, and knowing our oneness of the paths that we're here to anchor and root into new frequencies of co-creation, into new frequencies of what we know to be symbolic protection, but how can we raise it to a new vibration of authentic protection of who we are now as spirit? How can we protect this honoring of spirit? How can we protect this honoring of our land as spirit? The animals that come forward through the paradox and the dance as spirit, the oneness of the sacred Trinity, and the family that we are always linked with as it moves up to the heavens, and so too does it down. And you see all of these energies, there's an alignment. There's an alignment with these energies of our truth with spirit. Yes, they're going to be breaking so that we can create that greater resolve and that greater new foundations, but they're meant to show us the vastness of who we are as spirit, in oneness, in beauty, and in a paradoxical dance that is so elegant and authentic and graceful and gentle. Wow, so profound. We thank you, Gaia, and the divine spirits, and the inner and outer earth shamans, and the beautiful energies that are with us always, and through the Christed energies, as we explore, experience, and express all that we are as divine sacred beings. We hope that you've enjoyed our divine reading and our Gaia energies today. Namaste, and be one.